Pay close attention. This week, life won't speak to you in words, but in vibrations. From June 16th to 22nd, the energy around you begins to shift direction. It's not noise, and it's not chaos. It's the stillness that follows an inner storm. But don't be fooled. It's in that stillness that the most profound twists of fate quietly unfold. The full moon in Sagittarius has passed, yet its light still pulses through your senses. Sleep may feel restless, time unusually stretched, thoughts elusive and flickering, as if something has awakened within you, not yet shaped into words, but undeniably alive. Outwardly, everything might appear unchanged, but on deeper levels, a transformation is already underway. You may have sensed it, as though old images are resurfacing, familiar cycles repeating, and events whispering truths that once slipped by unnoticed. This isn't coincidence, it's synchronicity. The universe is starting to hum at a frequency you're finally able to perceive. And now, it's waiting for your response. No striving, no rushing, just presence. A readiness to stay in the moment and recognize the signs. What you've been feeling in recent days is the imprint of a transition. Former reference points are losing their hold, replaced by subtle signals from the future. This week doesn't ask for action. It calls for attunement, a conscious stillness, a mindful waiting, because ahead lies a turning point. And one of this week's events could shatter outdated patterns and reveal a path you never noticed before. But more on that soon. For now, here's what matters. An inner recalibration has begun, and the power that's long been dormant within you is starting to gather and take on a new shape. This week doesn't give you time to ease in, because on June 16th, the moon enters Aquarius and immediately finds itself in opposition to Mars. This is a rare aspect where everything may seem calm on the surface, yet subtle inner tremors begin to rise. It's as if your body and emotions are picking up vibrations that haven't quite reached your mind. It feels like a cool breeze suddenly meeting overheated air. A quiet inner tension begins to build, not an external conflict, but an internal hum. You may find it hard to concentrate. A sense of being scattered might arise, as if you're floating just slightly apart from the world in a space of your own. This day stirs hidden knots within, the ones tied up with unspoken emotions, long-forgotten questions, and invisible tension. What's been running in the background starts to surface, not in drama, but in barely noticeable waves. A desire for silence, sensitivity to noise, a need to withdraw, a vague sense of fatigue. And none of it is a problem. It's an invitation to pause, to listen. According to Vedic astrology, on this same day the moon passes through the Shatabisha nakshatra, a star realm associated with mental purification and a deep inner reset through awareness. Its energy is cool and clear, like a stream of pure water washing away built-up dust. It's not a gentle touch. It's a snap back to truth. Shatabisha whispers, "Look where you haven't looked in a long time, and see it differently." Not to dig up the past, but to stop carrying its shadow on your shoulders. If you feel the urge to retreat into silence, trust it. If the conversation with yourself feels more important than words with others, honor that, because it's in these moments of quiet realignment that true intuition begins to speak. The energy of June 16th doesn't demand answers. It asks a question and leaves space for the answer to arise from within. Sometimes, the softest inner signal is more powerful than the loudest sign from the outside world. And if you hear it, that's where real transformation begins. After a brief disorientation at the start of the week, the energy begins to stabilize. You still may not know exactly where it's leading you, but something inside you senses it's time to gather yourself. On this day, the universe seems to hand you tools, but how to use them is entirely up to you. June 17th marks a meaningful shift. Mars moves into Virgo, and you can feel it instantly. It lands not just in your awareness, but in your body, your thoughts, even your breath. If emotions previously sparked like dry air catching fire, now they begin to pass through a filter. The energy sharpens, becomes more focused, more precise, more deliberate. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's not repression, it's direction. Mars in Virgo is a form of inner discipline that doesn't constrain, it guides. A natural desire may arise to bring things into order, your mind, your plans, your environment, to sort through the clutter, not just on your desk, but in your consciousness. This is a powerful time to notice where your energy leaks and call it back to yourself. But there's another layer to this day, a deeper one. The moon aligns with Rahu, the North Node, which in esoteric traditions represents karmic imprints, unconscious cravings, and subtle distortions of perception. This conjunction can stir up emotional residues, thoughts, or storylines you thought were long resolved, not to trap you in them again, but to let you see them in a new light, so you can finally release them for good. The energy of the day may feel paradoxical. On one hand, clarity, precision, a sober sense of order. On the other, strange emotional echoes, vivid dreams, restless urges for change. Don't try to suppress it, just witness it. Because all inner restructuring begins with a moment of recognition. What am I carrying that no longer belongs to me? And what is it time to let go of? Mars in Virgo gives you the strength to rebuild your system. The moon with Rahu shows you where you've wandered off your path. And if you treat this day as a moment of focused alignment, you may find yourself taking the first truly conscious step into your next reality. After the emotional recalibration of recent days, a new kind of silence arrives, one where words feel unnecessary. Everything you need to understand is already resonating within you, not as a voice, but as something that can only be heard in absolute stillness. On June 18th, the moon aligns with Saturn in Pisces. This is more than just an astrological aspect. It's a moment when space contracts to a single point, and all distractions seem to vanish. A day when outer noise fades into the background, and your inner world becomes startlingly clear, sometimes to the point of aching. But this isn't the ache of breaking down. It's the pressure of becoming. A muted, almost monastic stillness, where everything non-essential fades into the unseen. Saturn in Pisces represents a deep soul-level discipline, not one imposed from the outside, but one that arises within. The discipline to remain still when familiar structures dissolve, to stay silent when the mind demands answers. This is a day of slowing down, and the more you push against that rhythm, the less you'll be able to do. This aspect ushers in a quiet energy where the mind may feel foggy, desires lose urgency, and plans blur around the edges. None of that is a mistake. It's an invitation. An invitation to simply be, without overthinking, without trying to shift or shape the world around you. If you feel tired today, slightly detached, or drawn toward solitude, don't resist. Because it's through these states that true inner alignment begins to take form. The kind that defies explanation, yet quietly reconfigures everything. You may feel a strange pull inward, but within that depth, the clearest insights can emerge. Saturn in Pisces doesn't take you deeper to hide you. It takes you there so you can learn to see in the dark, without flashlights, without directions, just by feeling your way forward. And while the moon, under this influence, may seem cold or distant, it is, in truth, guiding you to something sacred. This is not a day of answers, but of questions that don't need to be rushed. This is where true attunement begins. No words, no blueprints, no timelines, only breath, only rhythm, only the still pulse of your inner self. There are no random emotions under this sky. Whatever you feel is part of the process. Whatever slows down is part of the path. Whatever turns quiet may be the most important thing of all. After deep inner silence, what arrives is not an answer, but relief. As if a tense cord that had been vibrating within you for days finally begins to dissolve into air. June 19th is a day of quiet release. The moon completes its journey through Pisces and enters Revati, one of the most refined and subtle star realms in the sky. In Vedic astrology, Revati is the final nakshatra, the closing point of the zodiac, a symbol of completion. But this is not an ending. It is a farewell, voluntary, gentle, filled with gratitude. In Western astrology, this day carries the signature of emotional release, without drama, without force. Just a moment when something lets go. Old thoughts lose their grip. Weariness lifts, breath deepens. It's an ideal time to take quiet inventory, not with logic, but with feeling. Your intuition is heightened today. You may hear yourself with uncommon clarity, not in thoughts, but in the quiet inner yes. Revati opens the door to subtle perception, where even the smallest things, a glance, a phrase, a symbol, can carry meaning. The key is, don't rush. If you feel the need to retreat, honor that. If you're called to gently sort through your thoughts, let it happen. Because everything unfolding today has a single purpose: to lighten the weight of the past. Not through effort, but through soft return to self. And if you notice a feeling of lightness, as if something simply fell away, don't be surprised. Sometimes the most powerful cleansing happens in silence, and here it is, the moment that was only hinted at in the beginning. All week, we've been moving toward this point, through tension, stillness, and subtle internal turns, because everything up until now was just preparation. June 20th and 21st mark the summer solstice. This is more than just the turning of an astronomical season. It's the peak of the sun's annual journey, the longest day of the year, when light stands still at its most radiant point before slowly beginning its return. That's why the solstice is one of the most profound turning points in the calendar, a cosmic axis around which both the outer world and the inner self revolve. The energy during this time is unusually dense, concentrated, like sunlight distilled into a single golden drop. The sun enters the sign of Cancer, and with it, astronomical summer begins. Cancer symbolizes home, emotion, ancestry, intuition, and protection. This is a sign where the sun no longer shines outward just to illuminate. It shines inward, to warm. Its light doesn't push you forward. It pulls you home. The sun in Cancer is an invitation to return to yourself, not to the past, but to your truth. Yet the sky doesn't speak in just one voice. During these days, the moon travels through Aries, awakening a very different current. One of action, impulse, courage, and movement. It's a fascinating contrast. The sun calls you inward, and the moon pushes you forward. Together, they form an energetic portal. One side shows you where you truly belong, The other nudges you to step forward differently, boldly, authentically. These are the days when the axis of past and future begins to turn, inviting you to reorient your inner compass. Which is why, in this moment, unexpected insights may break through. A sudden clarity about what needs to end. A quiet knowing of what's been calling your soul for far too long. A decision that doesn't need logic, only truth. Because something within you finally says, I can't stay the same. The summer solstice is a spiritual reboot. A point of power that only opens when you're truly listening. And if you've been paying attention, you can already feel its pulse. In ancient traditions, this was known as the Gate of Light, a threshold you can pass through only if you're willing to leave behind what no longer serves you. And that's the deeper meaning. To enter your new timeline, you must first accept that the old one is done. Yes, it takes courage, and that's what the moon in Aries is here to teach you. To act, not from fear, but from clarity. So if these days feel intense, like everything is perched on the edge, that's not pressure, it's momentum, ready to become motion. The sun and moon aren't in conflict. They are working in harmony, aligning what you feel with what you are finally ready to do. This isn't just a shift, it's an entry point into an entirely new cycle. And if you dare to take that step, you'll discover a whole new facet of your reality. After the climax comes stillness. After strength, softness. After the turning point, a return inward. June 22nd is not just another day. It's a reflection of the light left behind after an inner sunrise, like a morning ray brushing over a world not yet fully awake, whispering, look, everything has changed. On this day, the moon and Venus align, a rare and delicate union, not marked by noise, but by the quality of the air itself. In the early sky, two luminous forces, the moon, symbol of the subconscious, and Venus, essence of love, harmony, and quiet beauty, meet in a single breath. This is not a moment for action. It's an inner response, a way the universe speaks, not in words, but in feeling. Subtle, nearly invisible, yet completely real. After the turbulence of the past week, after the inner shifts and emotional recalibrations, this morning feels different. It asks nothing of you. It offers no tasks or decisions. It simply invites you to feel that you are home again, within yourself. The energy of this day is exquisitely gentle. Venus is not a planet of striving. She doesn't push, she softens. She brings attention to what's been overlooked in the noise. The beauty, the tenderness, the quiet truth that's always been there. Perhaps in recent days, your focus has been on letting go, changing, beginning. But now comes the moment to notice what has already healed, what has softened, what has become quiet. And in that quiet, for the first time in a long while, you may hear your heart clearly. The moon and Venus meet not in drama, but in depth. Not in fleeting emotion, but in true feeling. The kind that stays when all else settles. The kind that reminds you what you're grateful for, who you truly value, and what brings light into your life, even if the world outside remains unchanged. If you happen to wake early today, look up. The message is already written in the sky. And if you hear nothing, that's okay. Sometimes the most important moments don't arrive as revelation, but as a state of being you simply want to keep. This morning is a quiet gift from the universe. Not a reward, but a confirmation. You've come through something meaningful. And now, you can exhale. Not because it's over, but because you are already further along than you were just 1 week ago. This week will not be random. No emotion, no shift, no pause will come without meaning. Each moment will be part of a precise, almost invisible calibration, as if the universe is turning a delicate inner mechanism, aligning it with what's already on its way. You may find yourself feeling both focused and scattered, inspired one moment, closed off the next. But this won't be chaos. It will be resonance, an echo of the cosmic rhythm, where each day carries its own frequency, its own key. First comes tension, to show you what no longer fits. Then comes cleansing, so you can release what has been outgrown. Then stillness, so that truth can become clearer. And finally, the radiance of the solstice and the gentle morning sign from the moon and Venus. A whisper that you are no longer who you were at the starting line. You won't have to understand it all. And certainly, you won't have to control it. But you can tune in. You can feel that this rhythm isn't calling for urgency, but for attunement. Not for struggle, but for balance. Every alignment takes time. But this one will begin now, and it will move deep, unhurried, intentional. And if, at any point this week, you feel something shift, a softening, a quiet inside, if you catch yourself thinking, it's quieter now, I'm starting to hear myself again, that's how you'll know. Everything is unfolding just as it should. This is not the time to chase answers. This is the time to notice the signs, even if they don't come in words, but in the lightest impressions. A breath, a sensation, a pull, because those feelings will be the bridge to the version of you that this new cycle is about to reveal. Trust it, because the moment you're stepping into isn't an end or a beginning. It's a threshold between the meanings you've outlived and the ones already reaching for you. And if you hold this frequency, everything meant for you will find you, without force, without delay, just with time and truth.